This is day 722 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor or come and share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Siman Tov Mem Zayin, Sif Mem Aleph, and finally getting Siman Tov Mem Ches, Sif Gimel. Mem Aleph. Shem Shechom is Kodim Pesach Bat B'Shishim, so Kodim Chom before Pesach is notified at 60. K'mochen Achar Pesach Bat B'Shishim. So do after Pesach is notified at 60. When the Chom started Kodim Pesach, when the Chom is mixed up before Pesach, Nishtad Lachar Pesach, and it was left around after Pesach. Inish Lo Avar Ba'Yiroah, as long as you didn't violate Ba'Yiroah, Pia Plotim, she's Barasin Tov Mem Beis If you Beis. And even type comments which Rabbanon you have to destroy, which time Hashem see design. You can become never can to mean a Torah lo avar mutar achar pesach. So the midrash mutar. It's after Pesach bata b'shishim. This the Rabbanon is bata b'shishim. Mr. Bura writes, the Sharsian says that the Rabbi holds that even when the Issa is only Rabbanon, such as it's min b'mino, min the Torah, it's bata b'rov. Nevertheless, after Pesach also to eat, but you're allowed to derive hanoah. Okay. Yes, it's to eat, it has to be bata b'shishim. But here it was very pre-mixed. Mix it before Pesach. And then you're allowed to mix it before Pesach and leave it after Pesach. Came over by Rot. So you brought the position before Pesach. Don't use it on Pesach. After you Pesach, allowed to use it. Sharatzian says Pashut that it is another way, another type of tarobes. That's it says, no, he says always speaking about when would be mutter to eat on Pesach, but then why would you need to do this? It would be chiddush. But min b'mino, which even though we rice its batzos, it's rabban, it's aser, you're not allowed to leave it. Okay, so that's just on your shulchan. Say now min b'mino, even though we rice its batzos, it's rabban, it's not. You're not allowed to deliberately mix it before Pesach and then leave it till after Pesach, unlike the shulchan. Even it says yavish be yavish, which is already nullified. Since if it's old, since it's being a chayes of near Pesach, which is we discussed at length, you wouldn't be allowed to leave it from Erev Pesach. But the Arukh HaShulchan holds you're allowed to. And that's the Magen Avraham and the Chok Yaakov. It's not considered to be like you're nullifying, and it's deliberately nullifying a prohibition, which is not permitted to do. Because when you do before Pesach, there's no prohibition. A Pesach has more achra Pesach. Sorry, but if you have it on Pesach itself, it's chometz. So after Pesach, obviously not allowed to mix it. Come never seen this Arab Pesach, but it did get mixed up. Now you didn't mix it on Pesach in 60. If I feel amazed, and then you left it over even deliberately. Raklo of our Bayroeh, if it was not Bayroeh, come pachas mikazayis. There's less like a zayis there, or nuksha, or chometz, which does not fully chometz. Mutar achar Pesach, it's permitted after Pesach. And bitul chemsa, of course, if you're about to chometz, the same thing. Achar Pesach, you start, but the position in this case, even after Pesach, when it gets mixed up, if it got mixed up after Pesach, it's both position. Abi shavar ba'ira v'dina k'tocha Pesach. Even though you were over ba'ira, as like within Pesach. It's when it got mixed up, you know how to mix it up. If literally mix it on Pesach or Achar Pesach, ain't about the God at all. Again, he reiterates, only was not mixed up inadvertently. And Bishu made it, but then you left over deliberately. Itarnu, that's okay. But not where you got mixed up deliberately. Members, Varvei Poskim Sovin Lachar Pesach, Shizarv, and so Shitim Bushish Barov. Many poskim know that after Pesach, if it's mixed, you don't even need 60. You just need a rope. It seems that way in Gemara explicitly. Something that Flamet, there it says, Rabbi Shimon Knas Okanis, Rabbi Shimon penalized you. Shechametz Shavuot Pesach also by no chametz, which you had a Pesach is also by no. But he said, but when he made this Knas, he really beinei. If it's excellent as outright, they got mixed up. No, I ain't sure. But Knas B'Shinu over by Ra. The penalty is because you violate by Ra. The Chol Sheinu Be'eno Mutter. Sounds like anything which is not outright, it's okay. So the simple majority vis-a-vis the chametz. I feel bachila, even teeth. Feel belach daibarov, and even if it's a moist mixture, it's enough to have majority. Yavish vaday. If it's dry, vaday gam there rishon. Even the first opinion is certainly true. Sagir bit the barov, you only need a majority. Lo adi mishari yitzurim. It's not no different than any other prohibition. It's no same time issue. Avish pesach atzmo ichmar gam biyavish. Even on Pesach itself, we're machmir and yavish biyavish. I become a machar Pesach unless after Pesach vaday but to barov, so it should be nullified. Rabbeinu Ramah B'Sifav Kosav. Ramah writes Pachos Mishishim Sagile B'Ashlochas Anos Isu Yamamelch. Mixing less than 60, you could just toss out the corresponding hanoah you're getting from the chametz in the mixture into the Dead Sea or some equivalent way of destroying it. The Mashal Dorab sounds from what he says is how feel there Rishonim. Even according to the first opinion, Shemar Tzvei Chashishim, which requires 60, you have to be toss out something tantamount to the benefit for chametz. There's Zukai is going that opinion. It says which Balatani also says that. But Sheshishim ain't tzorech klum. He says yeah. With pachas miramas, good pachas b'shishim. And when it's 60, you don't need to do anything. With the achrayna, which is more lenient, but bito berov sagi. All you need is that bibato berov ain't so clear. You don't have to do anything. If it's the difficult straits, then yeshis magadem rely on the more lenient opinion. You can't eat because it's a primary opinion. That's also from Balatanya. Chos achar Pesach, it's all after Pesach. Kana Pesach, Chodei Sor Shishim. For Pesach, everybody agrees needs 60 in order to leave it over on Pesach and not be over by Yeroah. It should be mutter after Pesach. When it's Baruch Shur Shai Batel Kana Pesach Shishim, and we said already allowed to nullify before Pesach 60. If you have fermented wheat, you'll add on to the 60. That's the widespread minhag. It's not realistic either to sell it or not realistic to destroy it for financial reasons. So therefore, the vat will leave it after Pesach. Abraham agrees with that. What about dough which was fermented with a leftover beer, which was also and leftover on Pesach? Also, he said about the entire dough is also anah. Affiliate shishim the 60 dough from mamid. Something which gives sustains the volume, enhances the volume of a mixture. I feel even in 1,000, it's not nullified. Can't toss the value of the pleasure into the benefit into the Dead Sea. And by the east north to sell to non-Jew, deducting the value of the prohibited substance. Because you see the entire dough, which is all made from beer, as if the entire thing is the dregs of the beer. I guess it's not use beer, but the dregs of beer. So if you made cheese with vinegar, chametz, shavar pesach, or you made dvash, or shikori med, or you made the med honey water, with dregs of beer, shavar pesach, which makes them pass over. Those argue. So the mahani ashlochas may even in this case, you can toss the value of the benefit into the Dead Sea. Avadav ramamid, even something which sustains the volume. And so to the sell to a non-Jew, deducting the value of the prohibition. Okay, if it's in Merubah, if it's you're in a pinch, Yesh laws, maybe you can rely on their psak. That's in the Baal Tanya and the Chuk Yaakov. Even the Schamsel Gam B'Shimei Heter, and if you used also dregs, Shmorim, I guess can also be yeast. Maybe he also about yeast, beer yeast. I guess we can chametz, other yeast not chametz. But in any event, if you use also het mutter yeast, zev zegorim, then you have causality from both the chametz and the non chametz, and we'd be makel under those circumstances. Mishmur said, indeed, makom hefseh meruba. You can be matter by noah, by tossing noah to the Dead Sea, and also you can sell to a non-Jew, and deduct the value of the chametz. Memdal, v'day shno the well, so another yeah, this is Arukh HaShulchan. Memdal, v'day shno the b'chol zeh ein chiluk ben bitol chemtza b'yudal ben lo bitol. In this case, it says, it's no difference whether you vat the chametz or not. Malcolm Shara Matin like they taros mutar if you blow bitol. Bittul obviously should be mutter. There's mutter even without bittul. Pirush Shas Allah Reb Shimon the Chamish of Pesach ain't a balab. Chamish of Pesach is not I saw that was also by no mitam knas. It's also because of a penalty shekatsu that we penalize him. However, by raw since he violated by raw. V'lokatsu b'taroives and they not make this knas when it's a mixture. K'mosh kosavim like we wrote. Makom shasu afilu kshabita as a chometz. But here is the Chumrah. And when they ask us if you should beat a chametz, lo bar ba'iroy, lo biras a chametz. Not like I assumed. Whoops. Even if it's bottle, if it's nullified the chametz, it didn't violate ba'iroy. Since you didn't destroy the chametz, you got a problem. I feel sure you understand even if it was inadvertent or compelled. And we will have to see the reason in the next simon. Okay, memhei chametz nuksha afilu beinei shloi dei taroives. This the rest of the development chametz, even if it's extant without any mixture. And also by noah after pesach, also by noah after pesach. Shlo avaras by since you don't violate by raw and chametz nuksha. And mechila mutzah also to eat it, it's permissible. Chametz nuksha ain't roy lachila. However, this chametz nuksha is not usually suitable to eat. Okay, the Mishnah says most achronim hold that it's also to eat regardless because it has the shame of chametz shavar pesach, even if it's not edible. Even though we just said that even if chametz is not effective. Even though there you didn't, you weren't over by Ra. There's no comparison. B'sham yesh b'ikar chametz by Ra. In the ikar of chametz, there is the primary chametz. There is by Ra. V'chein kotzu b'chol gamli. Verbatim in all situations. Mashiach b'nuksha she'elam by Ra. This chametz which is never by Ra, then in that case it is considered to be okay if it's rebattle it. Because Rabbeinu Ramah Sof Simon Zeh, the Yeshim Noim Lischok Kartim and Pesach al Shulchan. Some people will not play cards on Pesach on the table. I guess they have some sort of chametz nuksha in them. I don't know how cards have that. Maybe I'm mistranslating here. Because Rabbeinu says if you base the Pirius chametz gomorein, whatever that is. Arukh HaShulchan doesn't know, as we'll see in a moment either. Asuri manach our Pesach now allowed to have in benefit of the Pesach. The lo yadanu mazah, we don't know what that is. Years ago, I heard from my mother-in-law, that they refrained from putting newspapers on the table on Pesach. And it turns out that printer's ink, at least back then, had cornstarch in it, so it was a shayla of kitlios. Okay, Tav Memches. Din chametz shavel Pesach v'din mechiros chametz. The laws of chametz, which was over Pesach passed in a forbidden way, and laws of selling chametz. Av chametz shalei Yehudi, chametz of a non-Jew, shavel Pesach, which non-Jew held on Pesach, would that be allowed to eat it? Jew could buy from him and eat. Makom shalei be done place where they eat pas akum. Or she saws a kisa beis or the Jew tossed a sliver of wood into the fire when it was being baked, so it was not pasakum. Much because every day you can go for your base. Chametz shel Yisrael over Pesach. Chametz of a Jew over which Pesach passed. Also by Noah midrabanan. Midrabanan now is I benefit from it because soon they've penalized him. Yisrael Bayra because he violated Bayra. Achafilu bita chametz. Kankin also every time she's bar b'si vav. But even if the bitul chametz, it's also going to be also. As we shall see in Sivav. But Yisrael Varian, even though Jew is a criminal, porek on mitzvahs Elav, and he has unburdened himself with the yoke of mitzvahs. In the clash, when you don't even recognize this guy is a Jew. His chametz is also not to all Jews. Doesn't matter. Machlo chametz, you sold chametz to a Jew who is porek old. It's a selling to a Jew. Because even he's still a Jew. Again, no, we saw about Kutis, his father was a Jew, but not his mother. Does a black Amosa, because then the child is like the mother, and Baby Soklan is not a Jew at all. Mishabura says, but we sold it to Chametz to Yisrael Mumar, since you made a mistake, and thought that the Mumar has the law of a non-Jew. To say to the Mumar, they should switch his chametz, which I sold him, with the chametz of a non-Jew, or sell it, and then the switch substance or the money, which is realized is mutter. Okay, so Jew and non-Jew have chametz partnership. If everyone pays the best over this chametz, the loyal chukuk Pesach divide before Pesach, chukuk Pesach. And after Pesach, Sheni Yudi Mutter, which belongs to non-Jews, permitted. The Rabbanan came on the Yesh Beira, because it's a Rabbanan. We hold the Yesh Beira. You can retroactively clarify what belonged to whom. The Davar, it's become retroactively clarified. This was his portion to begin with. So us, whatever the Yisrael takes is forbidden. Shmuel writes that the part of the non-Jew is permitted after Pesach. But here he brings out Chum in the Korchaim. So if the chametz was in the house of a non-Jew over Pesach, and it's a machlekes if it was in the house of a Jew, and in the case it's possible that even to eat it is permitted, and the portion of the Jew is also bana. It's similar to Arukh HaShulchan, except he doesn't need to be necessarily the house of a non-Jew. That's not what we saw. Says some people say that even part of the Yisrael is mutter. Time to Rabbanan, some Rabbanan yesh beira hulakula. When Rabbanan say yesh beira, it's for to make a leniency. The lo shaydei zeh chumra, not because it's stringency. Shaydei zeh so the Jews' part should be also thereby. Rather, on the contrary, I mean of the ain't breira. I can say there is no breira. Like chelko sheisol biara ain't a yudi. It's like being Taylor. Maybe the part of the Jews in the jurisdiction of the non-Jew. That of the non-Jew, which it just has a picard and therefore wouldn't be over, is in the hands of Yisrael. That's from the Shagazariye. Vanita Me'azah astonishes Yoshua. But Ein Brei I've had to borrow. You imagine things through Ein Breira. Ein Breira Yesh Breira is a reason to be meko. Ein Breira is reason to be machmir, not to be meko. Takat Sveku. It's not clear cut after because it's still suffix. Shema Tamar Sveku Rabbanan L'Kula. Yeah, maybe we say, well, since it's suffix Rabbanan L'Kula. Go nearly imagine being doubt. Come never the man of shach. Mechtem is also bad. Half of this is definitely also. There's exactly both of them. I forgot the Rabbanan Amin and the Gam Tati Satre. Even though by Rabbanan he can even say paradoxical that this remained Torah, that remained Torah, even though it's not possible Torah. You say paradoxes. Because time about Simon Shinsai Gimel Stein Shinichu Eruv the Zechashvin Yom was El Laila, and later Ben Hashmoshos. So a day for one guy and night for another guy. Lo Dam Megal, it's not comparable. Tasim Shnei Bnei Adam, it's two people, Shnei Masim with two deeds. And Shnei Shil Shemazatz, and also the same classic case of the two pathways she alluded to. Kenu, Avo, Bechacha Shnei Bnei Adam, Ma'asecha Be'achas, where it's two people and one phenomenon. Adam El Kol Chametz HaLozeh, Sheish B'Chatz Shel Yisrael. We have say of all this in all this chametz, there has to be half of the Jew. Ve'ech nomar shem v'shisur. How could he possibly say Shagas suggestion that will go and say there's no chametz of the Jew at all? They're partners. Same thing is true about two Jews who were partners and one sold his chametz, the other didn't sell. After Pesach, they divided up. That one who sold his part, but because of prayer. Someone didn't sell his chametz, it's also. Yerushalmi says, a Kero died and they distributed his property. Nisa B'hem chametz, Pesach, and found chametz over which Pesach has passed. Mutar chametz ayin sham. So not so fast. So he died before Pesach. The no Bayra was violated because dead people don't own it. But he died after he came Asr, then the chametz is also came Bayra because it was Bayra just before he died. Goes also. But if somebody steals from you chametz, chametz, like saying the chametz was stolen, I feel amazed couldn't say suro. Even he died before the time of the prohibition. Also chametz al gazla. Gazla is not a type of chametz. Came and shows him the other. Since it was in his hand, melech shemes uzacha zeh chametz. Somebody died. I mean, somebody was zoching it. Maybe the nigzal was zoching back. That sounds like it. So the nigzal got it back. See, the death of the Gazan is a bayra. Okay. Lord, I feel machar meis is kochem tzokon Pesach. Even if that person sold up his chametz for Pesach, time when he's yayish me chametz. You think about pop on the chametz. Come ein chametz zebichlal mechir. This chametz is not included in the sale. Came to chametz tachas yara gazla. Oh, I see. You sold it. In other words, the nigzal sold it, but he didn't. It wasn't yet misyayish on the chametz. No. I got this wrong. And then my gozo so vice chametz. I'm going back. And then my gozo so somebody steals from him. Vice chametz. Vice chametz gzela. I feel mace was my story. Even the owner, the nigzal, died before the time it was prohibited. Also chametz al gazlan. Also chametz also on the gazlan. And skipped that line before. Came and says to Biyado since it was in his hands. Melech shemes. So since when the nigzal died, the victim died. Uzacha b'zeh chametz, and the robber acquired the chametz. Harei over bayra. At that point, it's bayra. Lord, if you machar meis kol chametz Pesach, even the mace, who was the person who was robbed, sold it was coming to a Pesach. At that time, he said chametz, but if he has to give it up again, the chametz back from the thief. Come ein chametz b'chal mechira. This chametz is not included in the sale. Came and show you chametz ties the other guys, and since the chametz was not in the gazlan, the kaim alon gazel no yisashu bailim. If there was gazel without yush, shtei men yechem makdish. You can be makdish. The gazlan fishen shalo, and the mochel fishen the nigzal fishen b'shuso. V'adin deinu yochol limkor. You can't sell as well. The sale would be null and void.